Hello there and welcome to a brand new lesson. In this lesson, we are looking at change of subject of a formula. We are focusing on formulas that contain fraction. These are the lesson objectives. Without much ado, let's quickly look into it. So when it comes to fraction, the key idea is very simple. That is, to remove a fraction, multiply both sides by the denominator. And if there are more than one terms, you multiply each and every term by the denominator, as simple as that. So when it comes to fraction, we like to handle it as a division problem. Because of the presence of the denominator, we say each numerator is being divided. So the most effective way to handle a fraction is to multiply the entire other side by the denominator. That is cross multiplying, or if there are more than one term, then you are going to do that by multiplying each and every term by the LCM of the denominators, known as the LCD. Let's look at some examples and we'll get to understand what I'm talking about. So for this first example we have, it says given V equals D over T, we have to make D the subject. If you know your formula is right, this is the formula for velocity as a distance over time. You have to make D the subject. And take note, the variable we are focusing on is the numerator, it is on top. Let's look at how we deal with such. So we have V equals D over T. Now we want to make this D the subject. So what we are going to do is, considering this denominator as division, you see, when we said to undo the division operation, what you do is you multiply. So if it is dividing by T, then we would have to multiply both sides as well by T. So that this T cancels out to this T and we'll be left with VT. We have VT being equal to D. So we can simply say our D is then equal to VT. That is making D the subject. You could have as well say you want to cross multiply, because this is a very simple one. We can use cross multiplication. So with that, how is it going to be? We have V, which is equal to D over T. Now you know this denominator has 1 over here. So cross multiplying simply means the V multiplies the T and the D multiplies the 1. So that in essence, we are going to have V times T and then D times 1. So we have D equals V T, which is the same as what we have over here. Very simple. Let's look at the case where we actually have the subject or the variable in question being the denominator. So with this same question, we have still the velocity, which is V equals D over T, and we have to make T the subject. So just as we did the previous one, the T is now the denominator part of it. So we can cross multiply. V equals D over T. We know V is over 1. So choosing to cross multiply, we have V multiplying T to give us the V T. Then we have 1 multiplying D to give us D. We still do not have T alone, but then we have V multiplying T. So what do we do to eliminate our V? Since it is multiplying, then we can choose to divide both sides by V. Dividing both sides by V, you realize that this V cancels out this V and be left with a T. So T equals D over V. We can say it is nice that our T, which we want to make the subject, the time is what? The distance over velocity. These two are very simple change of subject questions that involve fractions. Let's look at multi-step fractional formulas. So if we look at this, we have here, it is actually the formula for acceleration. It says make V the subject of A equals V minus U all over T. So we have our A being equal to 20 minus U over T. If you take a critical look at it, look at where our 20 is. So we would first of all need to remove our denominator before we can then focus on the numerator. Now, you realize that the denominator of A here is 1. So if we consider the 1 and then the T, you realize that the LCM is T. So since it is 1, we can cross multiply. Or you can choose to multiply each and every term, that is both the left hand side and the right hand side, by your LCM. So let's take the latter. So multiplying A by T and also multiplying the right hand side also by T. So we have A times T giving us an AT. Then for the right hand side, the T cancels out the T once. So we're left with the 1 times V minus U. So that we have V minus U times 1 will still remain the same. What we want to make the subject V. So what we do, that simply means we have to eliminate the obstacle, which is negative U. So how do we undo negative? We do that by adding. So it simply means we are going to add U to both sides, so that the U minus U goes away. Then we'll be left with our AT plus U being equal to the V. V has been made the subject, you see. So we simply have our V being equal to what? AT plus U. Very simple, as you see. It is just a step-by-step process. You can easily remove the denominator. Take note, what we want to make the subject is in the numerator. So you first remove the denominator before you can now focus on the numerator. As simple as that. Now let's look at one last example where the variable might even contain a coefficient. It might have a coefficient. So in this example, we have y being equal to a 2x plus 1 all over 5. So y equals 2x plus 1 over 5. And we need to make x the subject. It follows the same principle we use over here. So since we know the denominator of the left hand side is 1, we can cross multiply. So now we have y times 5 and then 2x minus 1 times 1. 5 times y gives us a 5y, and that will be equal to 2x plus 1. It is x we want to make the subject, so we need to take off the negative 1 first. So we subtract both sides, or we subtract 1 from both sides. So that we have 5y minus 1 was 2x plus 1 minus 1. And as usual, we know this is going to give us a 0. Hence, we have 5y minus 1 equals 2x. Since it is x we want, we'll then have to divide both sides by 2. So that we divide this side by 2 and also divide this side by 2. 2 cancels out 2. And then we have what? 5y minus 1 all over 2 being equal to x. So to write it appropriately, that is letting the subject being at our left hand side, it simply implies our x is equal to 5y minus 1 all over 2. As simple as that. So we are ending this lesson on this question. And as usual, I'll give you some examples or some questions so you try on your own. So here are some few questions, just about 6 of them. And you have to make the variable specified here the subject. Let's have beyond numbers where we learn maths the easy way. I do hope this lesson was helpful. If there's any issue of concern, you can always let me know at the comment section. See you in our next lesson, and bye for now.